The Unseen Threat. The film opens in a remote Arctic research station, abandoned since a 2023 experiment went awry. A storm rages as a team of salvagers, led by Dr. Lena Voss, a determined scientist played by a new actress, her brother Elias, a skeptical engineer, and rookie pilot Mia, arrive to recover data. They find a sealed lab with claw marks on the walls and a flickering monitor displaying Subject Z13, containment failure. A low growl echoes, and the camera pans to a shadow, with glowing eyes retreating into the ice tunnels, setting a chilling tone. Act 1. The Awakening. Lena, driven by her father's legacy, he led the original experiment, decodes the data. Subject Z13 was a bioengineered organism, combining human DNA with an unknown Arctic predator, intended to survive extreme conditions. The project, funded by a shadowy corporation, failed when Z13 escaped, killing the team. Elias warns of the danger, but Mia, eager to prove herself, triggers a seismic sensor, awakening Z13. The creature, a hulking bioluminescent beast with elongated limbs and a jagged maw, attacks, killing a salvager. The group barricades themselves, discovering the station's power grid can emit an electromagnetic pulse, EMP, to weaken Z13. Flashbacks reveal Lena's father's notes. Z13 was sentient, driven by a need to protect its territory, and its Z designation marked it as the 13th failed hybrid. The act ends with Z13 breaching the barricade, forcing a desperate escape into the tunnels. Act 2. Survival in the ice. The team navigates the icy labyrinth, facing Z13's ambushes. Its agility and camouflage make it a relentless hunter. Mia, injured, reveals she's a corporate spy sent to erase the data, creating tension. Lena uses the EMP device, briefly stunning Z13, revealing its humanoid features, warped by mutation. They find a survivor log from Lena's father, confessing he bonded with Z13, seeing it as a child before it turned violent. The group splits. Elias and Mia rig the EMP grid while Lena searches for a kill switch in the lab. Z13's intelligence shines as it sabotages their plan, killing Mia in a gruesome scene where it impales her with a claw. Elias sacrifices himself to activate the EMP, weakening Z13, but not destroying it. The act closes with Lena cornered, the creature's glowing eyes reflecting her father's face. Act 3. The Final Confrontation. The climax unfolds in the lab as Lena activates the kill switch, a cryogenic chamber meant to freeze Z13. The creature resists, its rage intensified by Lena's presence, recognizing her as its creator's kin. A brutal fight ensues. Lena uses a flare gun to ignite leaking fuel, scorching Z13, but it regenerates. She appeals to its lingering humanity, offering peace, and lures it into the chamber. The switch activates, freezing Z13 mid-roar, its eyes dimming as Lena collapses, traumatized. The station collapses under the storm, and Lena escapes on a snowmobile, broadcasting a warning about Z13's potential revival. The film ends with a shot of the ice cracking, a claw emerging, hinting at its survival. Post-credits scene. A corporate executive watches Lena's broadcast, ordering a retrieval team, suggesting Z13's creation was part of a larger program. The Echoes of War. The film opens in the wasteland 2046, 15 years after the events of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. The Citadel stands scarred but thriving under Immortan Joe's rule, its water pumps now guarded by Furiosa, Anya Taylor-Joy, reprising her role, who has solidified her power as Imperator. A sandstorm rages as a lone figure, Max Rockatansky, Tom Hardy, drives his battered interceptor through the dunes, haunted by visions of his past, his family, the war boys, and Furiosa's escape. A radio crackles with a distress signal from the gas town ruins, hinting at a new threat. The camera pans to a convoy of war rigs, led by a mysterious warlord, Korak the Iron Fang, a new character, whose spiked vehicles tear through the sand, signaling the rise of a new power. Act 1. The Iron Fang's rise. Furiosa, now a hardened leader, oversees the Citadel's defenses, training a new generation of warriors, including Rhea, a fierce young woman played by a new actress, a former scavenger who idolizes her. Korak, a former lieutenant of Dementis who survived Furiosa's vengeance, has united the scattered biker hordes into the Iron Fang, a faction wielding scavenged military tech, tanks, drones, and a biofuel weapon called Black Mist. His goal: seize the Citadel's water and oil to dominate the wasteland. Max and Furiosa cross paths, their reunion tense. Max blames her for the chaos that followed Joe's death, while Furiosa sees him as a relic. They form an uneasy alliance when Korak's drones attack, forcing a retreat to a hidden bunker where Rhea uncovers an ancient map to the Green Place, rumored to have been reborn. Act 2. The March to Redemption. The trio, joined by a rogue warboy, Twitch, a wiry new character, embarks on a perilous journey across the wasteland. Korak's forces pursue, unleashing Black Mist, a corrosive vapor that melts metal and flesh. Forcing creative escapes, Max rigs a sand sailor from wreckage, while Furiosa leads a decoy charge. The map leads to a canyon oasis, where a small community, the Cedars, guards mutated crops. Their leader, Elder Mara, a wise new character, reveals the Green Place's revival was temporary, destroyed by raiders, but offers a seed vault to restore it if Furiosa aids their defense. Tensions rise. Max's lone wolf instincts clash with Furiosa's command, and Rhea's admiration turns to defiance when she learns Furiosa hid the Green Place's fall. A brutal ambush by Korak's tank brigade leaves Twitch wounded, and the group discovers Black Mist is powered by captured Cedars, fueling Korak's war machine. The act ends with Korak broadcasting a challenge: surrender the Citadel or face annihilation, his drones darkening the sky. Act 3. The Battle for the Future. The climax erupts at the Citadel, where Korak launches a full assault. Furiosa rallies the warboys and Cedars, rigging the water pumps with explosives as a last resort. Max, using his interceptor, lures Korak's tanks into a trap, triggering a sand avalanche that cripples their advance. Rhea, proving her worth, disables the Black Mist generator with a kamikaze run, sacrificing herself to save the group. Furiosa and Max face Korak in a hand-to-hand duel atop a war rig. Furiosa severs his metal jaw, while Max impales him with a harpoon, ending his reign. The Citadel holds, but at a cost. Rhea's death weighs on Furiosa, who plants the seed vault's contents, vowing to rebuild. Max departs, leaving a cryptic message: the wasteland doesn't end. The film closes with a seedling sprouting amid the ruins, as a distant roar hints at new threats. Post-credits scene. In a cave, a figure in a gas mask examines a vial of Black Mist, whispering, "The Fang will rise again," teasing a sequel. The Harvest's Curse. The film opens in rural Kansas, October 2025, where a sprawling cornfield glows under a blood-red harvest moon. A group of teenagers, led by Jake, a charismatic high school senior, his sister Emily, a curious 16-year-old, and their friends Tara and Lucas, sneak into Old Man Harrow's abandoned farm for a dare. Legend says Harrow, a reclusive farmer, vanished 50 years ago after a failed crop cursed his land. As they explore, Jake knocks over a weathered scarecrow, its straw spilling out. A sudden wind carries an eerie whisper, and the scarecrow's eyes glow faintly. The group flees, unaware they've awakened something ancient. Act 1. The Seeds of Fear. The next day, strange events unfold. Crops wither overnight, livestock turn aggressive, and Jake finds a straw doll on his porch with his name carved into it. Emily, researching local history, uncovers a journal from Harrow's wife, describing a ritual to appease a corn spirit, the straw wraith, after a drought. Harrow, desperate, bound his soul to a scarecrow to protect the harvest, but the spirit turned malevolent, driving him mad. The journal warns that disturbing the scarecrow triggers its revenge, targeting those who trespass. The town sheriff, Mara, a tough, no-nonsense woman, dismisses the teen's fears, but strange deaths begin. Farmers found impaled on pitchforks, their bodies arranged in corn circles. Jake and Emily, joined by Tara, a tech-savvy skeptic, and Lucas, a nervous comic relief, decide to confront the legend, arming themselves with salt, a folklore ward, and a video camera to document the truth. Act 2. The Wraith Awakens. The scarecrow comes to life, its patchwork form animated by swirling straw and glowing eyes, wielding a scythe with unnatural speed. It hunts the teens through the cornfield, its movements jerky, yet relentless. Flashbacks reveal Harrow's pact. He sacrificed his family to the straw wraith, and his spirit now fuels its vengeance. The group discovers a hidden cellar under the barn, filled with ritual artifacts, and Harrow's skeleton, clutching a talisman that can banish the wraith. Tara hacks into local records. Finding the talisman requires a blood offering from a descendant, Emily, whose family unknowingly bought Harrow's land. The scarecrow ambushes them, killing Lucas in a gruesome scene where straw pierces his chest. Mara, investigating the deaths, arrives but is captured, tied to a cross as bait. The act ends with the wraith summoning a storm, its power growing as more victims fall. Act 3. The Final Harvest. The climax unfolds in the cornfield under a torrential downpour. Emily, guided by the journal, uses her blood to activate the talisman, but it only weakens the wraith, revealing Harrow's spirit within. Jake and Tara rescue Mara, using salt to hold the scarecrow at bay. A desperate battle ensues. Jake wields a pitchfork, Tara films for evidence, and Emily confronts Harrow's ghost. She pleads for his release, offering forgiveness for his family's sacrifice. Harrow, torn, turns on the wraith, sacrificing his spirit to destroy it. The scarecrow collapses into ash, the storm clears, and the field blooms with unnatural green. Mara arrests the teens for trespassing, but thanks them, while Emily buries the talisman, vowing to protect the land. The film ends with a shot of new scarecrows in the field, their eyes briefly glowing, hinting at the curse's persistence. Post-credits scene. A farmer in a neighboring county finds a straw doll, setting up a potential sequel. Salation's Edge. The film opens in a post-apocalyptic 2025 Manhattan, cut off from the mainland by a collapsed bridge, its skyline a skeletal ruin overrun by walkers. Maggie Green, Lauren Cohan, and Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, navigate the foggy streets, their uneasy alliance forged to rescue Maggie's son, Herschel, Logan Kim, kidnapped by the Barazi, a ruthless gang led by the Croat, Jellico Ivanek. A voiceover from Maggie reflects on survival and revenge, setting a tense tone. Act 1. Into the Dead City. Maggie and Negan, accompanied by Ginny, Mahina Napoleon, a mute girl under Maggie's care, enter Manhattan via a smuggler's boat. They encounter the tribespeople, led by Tommaso, Jonathan Higginbotham, and Amaya, Karina Ortiz, who warn of the Barazi's dominance. Flashbacks reveal Negan's past with the Croat, a former savior ally turned sadistic warlord, and Maggie's desperation after losing Hilltop. The trio fights through walker hordes, using Negan's bat, Lucille, and Maggie's resourcefulness. They learn Herschel is held in the Croats' stronghold, the Chrysler Building, rigged with traps. Act 2. Alliances and Betrayals. Maggie negotiates with the tribespeople for aid, offering food from her bricks community. Negan, skeptical, uncovers a Barazi plot to use walkers as weapons, controlled via sound devices. A tense standoff with Pearlie Armstrong, Gaius Charles, a new Babylon marshal hunting Negan, forces a temporary truce. Pearlie joins to stop the Croats' chaos. The group infiltrates a subway tunnel, facing a walker ambush triggered by the Croats' traps. Ginny's courage saves them, but Tommaso dies, deepening Maggie's resolve. Negan's guilt surfaces as he recalls killing Glenn, straining their bond. Act 3. The Chrysler Showdown. The climax unfolds in the Chrysler building's upper floors, a fortress of walker nests and Barazi guards. Maggie and Negan split. Maggie rescues Herschel from a walker pit, while Negan confronts the Croat. The Croat reveals his plan to sell Manhattan's control to New Babylon, using Herschel as leverage. A brutal fight ensues. Negan disarms the Croat, but Maggie intervenes, sparing him for information. Pearlie arrests the Croat, but a walker horde breaches the building. The group escapes via a zip line, with Negan sacrificing a weapon to save Ginny, signaling redemption. Closing scene. A fragile hope. Safely on a rooftop, Maggie reunites with Herschel, their embrace bittersweet amid the city's decay. Negan parts ways, vowing to protect Annie and Joshua, Medina Sangore, his family from the Walking Dead. Pearlie offers Maggie a new Babylon alliance, hinting at future conflicts. The camera pans to Manhattan's skyline, walkers roaming below, as Maggie whispers, "This city's not done with us yet." Post-credits scene. A radio crackles with a new Babylon signal, mentioning the Silk Stockings, teasing Season 2's Bruegel, Kim Coates. A New Dominion. The film opens in 2026, 6 months after Predator, Badlands. On the Predator homeworld, a scarred wasteland of jagged spires and neon storms, a young Predator, Kale, Demetrius Schuster Koloamatangi, reprising a variant of Deck, emerges from exile. Having survived the events of Badlands, where he allied with Thea against a monstrous beast, Kale now seeks to reclaim his clan's respect. A holographic council of elder predators rejects him, declaring him weak for sparing Thea. As they turn away, Kale uncovers an ancient artifact, a crystalline skull radiating power, unlocking visions of a forgotten predator empire's rise. Act 1. The Call to Power. Kale, driven by ambition, decodes the skull's data, revealing a lost predator colony ship crashed on Earth millennia ago. The ship houses a dormant alpha predator, a genetically superior hunter designed to lead their kind. Kale rallies a rogue faction, including a fierce female warrior, Zara, promising to awaken the Alpha and overthrow the Elders. On Earth, Thea, Elle Fanning, now a rogue android seeking her own purpose, detects the ship's signal in a Siberian tundra and alerts a UN task force, led by Commander Elena Voss, a new character, aware of the Prey and Badlands incidents. Flashbacks show Kale's past, a child during a clan purge, spared by mercy, fueling his desire to prove his strength. The act ends with Kale's team launching toward Earth, their ships cloaked against detection. Act 2. Collision Course. Kale's forces land in the tundra, battling UN troops with advanced weaponry and stealth. Thea, joining Voss's team, uses her android enhancements to track the predators. They discover the colony ship, its corridors lined with fossilized human trophies, and awaken the Alpha Predator, a towering, bio-enhanced Yautja with retractable blades and a plasma cannon. The Alpha, initially hostile, recognizes Kale's bloodline as a descendant of its creators and agrees to follow him, but only if he proves his worth by defeating a human champion. Voss's team includes a grizzled ex-soldier, Marcus Kane, a new character, who fought a predator in The Predator, 2018. Kane trains Thea in guerrilla tactics, while Kyle's faction sets traps, turning the tundra into a deadly arena. The act climaxes with Kale sparing a wounded UN soldier, earning the Alpha's respect but fracturing his own team as Zara challenges his leadership. Act 3, The Rise. The final battle erupts as Zara betrays Kale, allying with the Alpha to seize control. She unleashes the Alpha on Voss's team, forcing a desperate stand. Thea hacks the ship's systems, disrupting the Alpha's enhancements, while Kane and Voss engage Zara in a brutal fight. Kale, torn between honor and power, confronts the Alpha, using the crystalline skull to amplify his strength. In a visceral showdown, Kale defeats the Alpha, claiming its power but refusing to kill it, instead banishing it to exile, mirroring his own past. The ship self-destructs, and Kyle, wounded but victorious, declares himself the new clan leader, vowing to unite predators under a code of honor. Thea and Voss part ways, with Thea choosing to explore her autonomy, hinting at future adventures. The film ends with Kale's silhouette against a rising sun, his rise complete. Post-credits scene. A transmission from the Alpha's exile pod reaches a distant predator fleet, suggesting a counterstrike.